Tonight, a confessed serial rapist and serial killer agrees to his first and only interview. Investigators have linked Mark Douglas Burns, known as the Clearfield rapist, to at least 11 sexual assaults between 1991 and 2001, these happening in our neighboring states of Utah and Wyoming. Well, this week, Burns was sentenced to life in prison for first-degree murder in Evanston, Wyoming. Thanks in part to the confession that he gave to investigative reporter Adam Herbitz from our sister station in Salt Lake City.
Hey, good afternoon, Mark. How are you doing? You hear me?
I'm well, Adam. Yourself?
Do you get a lot of visitors?
No, you're the only ones I've ever gotten.
His name is Mark Douglas Burns, but for years, when police were trying to figure out who he was, their cold case suspect was only known as the Clearfield rapist.
Adam, what a break in the case.
We have a suspect now for the first time in almost 30 years. They were able to get this guy by looking at his DNA. Police say this man would often blindfold his victims and then forcibly rape them. The details are very, very disturbing.
He lived an undercover life in Ogden as a truck driver. Before that, he beat death row, the gas chamber in North Carolina, for another rape he committed in 1974. In that case, he targeted a woman in a McDonald's restroom.
All right, well, let's see where this goes then.
These interviews you're about to see took place in February 2020. We're only releasing this series now because his confessions to Fox 13 were used as part of an ongoing investigation into new crimes that he had never been linked to before.
I definitely regret everything that I've done. I mean, those people did absolutely nothing to me. They did not deserve what I did to them. If I could take it back, I certainly would, but I can't. Possibly being executed for those murders is the only sense of justice that I can give them.
You were on death row in the past. Do you want to be on death row?
I would rather be executed than spend the rest of my life in prison.
Mark Burns is still facing a murder charge based on a case in Evanston, Wyoming, and has confessed to 2 other homicides, one in Oregon and one in Arizona.
All 3 of the homicides were totally by accident. None of them were planned. The one in Wyoming that they're going to talk about was actually the only female victim, and that one was just a total mistake. My bad, total. She had nothing to do with it. I mean, she did nothing wrong. Totally my bad. It was just a situation that just went to instantly, and I chose the wrong way to handle it.
Do you object to being called a serial killer?
I don't know. I mean, if that's what it is, then that's what it is. It doesn't, it doesn't bother me. It doesn't. If that's what I am, then that's what I am.
The Clearfield rapist will never have to face his murder victims, but earlier this year he said it was uncomfortable to face the women he raped.
I would ask the court, show me no mercy.
He robbed me of my virginity, safety, and sleep. Since that traumatic night, I have never again slept through the night, ever. The bravest thing I ever did was continuing my life when I wanted to die. He gave me a life sentence, but he himself was free to live his life.
His youngest victim was 11 years old, but she grew up strong.
So this was just 19 months before I was taken. This is my mom and me. That's a great feeling, never to have to look over my shoulder again.
How did you pick your victims?
I didn't pick them, just whoever left the door unlocked.
Why?
I don't know. I had a compulsion that was irresistible. On the one hand, it was a hunger that was unquenchable, unsatisfiable. But then on the other hand, it fed me. It made me feel complete. I never experienced love. I don't know, maybe these crimes was just some way of me actually being able to present my whole entire complete self as a human being to another person, whether they wanted it or not. Obviously, I would rather be free than in spending the rest of my life in prison. But on the other hand, I've had a great weight lifted off of me because of this now. It gave me the opportunity to provide some closure to my victims. They certainly deserve it.
Do you know how many women you have raped?
I've got a pretty good idea. My memory's not as good as it used to be, but I'm not going to get into that now.
Burns said he has not committed a crime since 2002, when his desire to fulfill his sick need started to fade.
My brain does not function normally. I don't know if it's a chemical imbalance. Maybe I've got an extra Y chromosome. Maybe it's just a loose wire. Up until recently, I've never experienced the feeling of guilt. I do feel regret. I do feel remorse. I do feel sorrow. These are feelings I've never experienced before. I have become what I think is a responsible citizen. I'm a good neighbor. I'm a good friend. I'm a good employee. I think I'm basically a decent human being if it wasn't for the fact that I was also a monster.
That was Adam Herbitz reporting, and Mark Burns is still being investigated for the homicides in Oregon and Arizona. He said he plans to continue confessing and pleading guilty to every crime he has committed. Earlier this year, he was sentenced to 242 years to life for those rapes in Utah.